It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Yeah, he had a good point. What's good, y'all? It's your boy PLAX, and I'm back with another episode of The 3 on PLAXtv. And I'm back in an undisclosed location. And today I will be talking about Olympic club teams, which isn't a thing, but it seems like people are trying to do that. But let's get into it. Andres Nocioni of the Argentina National Team. He used to be in the NBA, and now he's strictly plays in Argentina, I believe. He made some comments about how certain national teams and Olympic teams have been acquiring their players to fill out their rosters, and it brought something a little bit to light to me, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. So, Argentina recently lost to the Bahamas in the Olympic, not the Olympic Games, in the World Games, like a couple weeks ago. And Andrea had some comments about it because the Bahamas had recently acquired a few NBA players due to some potentially nefarious means. But I'm a read Andrea's direct quote here. Is it fair what the Bahamas did to nationalize a player who had already competed for the United States, even winning a World Cup at the last moment? This signing at will is called the Club League, not the national team competition, and it should be corrected. Now, basically what Andre was getting into was how the Bahamas had acquired Eric Gordon, like, I want to say like a month or a couple weeks before the World Games actually started. And they had acquired a couple other guys too who play in the NBA who weren't necessarily from the Bahamas, but they ended up with citizenship, so they qualified to be a part of the team along with Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon also, like he said, played for the USA team. And I've also noticed like some other countries have been getting NBA players who may not be from there to just become citizens so they can play for those teams during the World Games and the Olympics. Now, I understand why Andre is upset about that. It is no longer a national team at that point if you're just making guys become citizens of your country, paying them, and then having them just suit up for your team. Like Giannis could play for the UK team, you see what I'm saying, or LeBron James could play for the Chinese team, you see what I'm saying, just because they made themselves citizens. And everyone has that right to go to a different country and take the exams or whatever you have to do to become citizens in different countries. And if you become a citizen and you do everything you're supposed to do, you deserve to be a citizen in that country. And therefore, you should be able to participate in the games that they have in the Olympics and the World Games. But it gets a little, It gets a little shaky. It gets a little shaky, and it does turn into club basketball at that point. And I get why he's upset about it because of the way certain countries have been going about it. But I think it's some merit to it, though. I think that's something that should be looked into. Maybe not for the Olympics, but maybe like something separate, possibly, where countries just have club teams where they sign people to participate for them in the Olympics, and then that cuts out guys having to go through the rigmarole of becoming citizens in multiple different countries and multiple different in multiple different countries just to play a sport. I'm a little conflicted because yes, I do agree with him that unless you, which he didn't say that, I'm saying this, unless you were born in that country, you probably shouldn't be representing them in the World Games or in or in the Olympics. You see what I'm saying? Like, unless you were born there or you lived there like your entire life or majority of your life, like say, like 21 Savage, for example, he's a rapper, but let's say he played basketball. He was born in the UK and he was in the UK till he was like 6 or 7 or something like that. But he's like almost 30 now and he spent the majority of his life in Atlanta in America. So in a case like that, I feel like 21 should have to play for the USA team, right? Because he is an American citizen and he is a UK citizen because he was born there, but like he spent his whole life here. You see what I'm saying? So that, like, what constitutes a guy being eligible to play for a country in the Olympics or in the World Games? I do agree with like a situation like Eric Gordon. Like I feel like Eric Gordon, not Aaron Gordon. I'm saying Eric Gordon. I'm not saying the C for some reason. Eric Gordon. That situation seemed very like shaky. That seemed like they gave him the exam or whatever it takes to become a citizen of the Bahamas. They gave him whatever paperwork he needed to fill out or do. They pushed it through a little quick, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, now he's on the national team." That should not be allowed. I don't think situations like that should not be allowed. I think you got to at least be a citizen for like. I'm gonna say 5 years because that's an Olympics. That's an entire duration of one Olympic to another, plus 1 year. So I feel like that's the bottom line I'm trying to get to is what's okay and what's not, in my opinion. And I'm live thinking about it as I'm talking to y'all, and I think that's the fair thing. I think you should be a citizen of that country for at the bare minimum 5 years before you can represent that country in a World Games or Olympics, because it is turning into the World Club Games, and that's okay, but then you have to like market it as that. Then let's not market it as the World Games, the national teams, if we're going to be running it like club teams and just getting guys when we see fit, or guys that we see that are available and we're like, hey, would you like to be a citizen? You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, even with the States, right? Because Paulo Banchero, he what was it? What team was it? Was it Italy? Might have been Italy. I can't remember. Comment down below what team Paulo was supposed to be on before. But there was a team that Paulo agreed to be a part of, that he is a citizen of that country. He agreed to be a part of that team, and like last minute, something happened and he was on the USA team. Like he said he didn't want to be on I'm gonna just say Italy for now. He was saying he didn't want to be on Italy, and he was on the USA team. And that's more of a situation, I guess, like 21 Savage, because I believe maybe he was born there or something like that, but he spent majority of his life here. So he's technically eligible to play on both teams, but it was just still kind of like messy the way that happened. And I think they need to get into like more rules and regulations. Like one, like I said, the 5 year thing. Like you have to have been a citizen there for at least 5 years before you just say, "Oh, I'm a citizen, throw me on the world team or on the national team." You see what I'm saying? Like if it's a situation like 21 Savage, I don't think it's too much you could do, or Paulo Banchero, I don't think it's too much you could do about that, because they are technically a citizen of both countries. They were born in one country and they spent the majority of their life in another country. So that's a little different. But if you were born in America, you've been in America your whole life, and then one day you just want Chinese citizenship, that's okay. You can go do that, but you can't represent China in the World Games or the Olympics until you've been a Chinese citizen for 5 years. I think that's fair because then that cuts out Eric Gordon situation. I think Nocioni was just mad that Argentina lost, and he probably looked at the roster that the Bahamas had, and he was like, "This not even a national team." They got this dude from Georgia, and this dude is from Canada, and this dude is from Japan. Like, they don't have an actual national team. They running a club team, and I think that might have pissed him off, and that's why he made that comment. But it was a valid comment at the same time, and I do think more stricter rules need to be implemented going forward in the Olympics and the World Games, specifically for basketball. I don't know how it is in other sports or anything like that, but definitely for basketball, we need to like detail who, what, when, where. And I think it starts with the 5-year thing. I even think for people with dual or multiple citizenships, I think we need rules for that too. Because like in Paolo Banchero's situation, like he was locked in to play for the Italian team. It's probably another team. That's just what keep popping into my head. He agreed to play for that team. He practiced with that team. He knows their playbook and all that shit. He played for the under 19 team as well, I believe. And then he just decides he wants to play for the USA team, and he's eligible to do that. But it's still messed up because like he just jumped right before the World Game started, and I think that's crazy. And something's going on. And the Italian GM or whatever you want to call it, the general manager of the Italian national team was like, it's just about loyalty and stuff like that. And that's like 2 or 3 complaints now. That's 2 or 3 complaints about like rules and regulations regarding on players jumping from team to team when it comes to national teams. It's not the NBA, right? It's not the Euro League. It's not the Saudi League or anything like that. This is the entire world playing against each other, and you're supposed to have people, your countrymen, represent you, not someone else's countrymen coming over to represent you so you can win more games. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. A part of me thinks that's cool, but I feel like if people are gonna start doing the club team thing, I think that should be something separate then. Like a World League, it should be like a separate situation. It shouldn't be a part of the Olympics or the World Games or anything like that. Because that concept is cool, but just deciding to do it on your own is kind of crazy. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Andrea Nocioni? Do you think countries should just be able to run it however they want to run it? If you're able to get players to come over and play for you, you should just be able to do that. I don't necessarily agree with that, but hey, let's have a dialogue. I know I kind of rambled a bit in this video. That's because I was like thinking about my responses as I was recording. Like I didn't write no notes about this. I just was like going based off of the screenshot that I had and some of the stuff that I've heard, and I was just piecing it together as I went. Let me know if y'all like that. Let me know if y'all didn't like that. I could be more prepared and have more notes going forward. But make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ding that notification bell so you know every time I drop a video. And most of all, YouTube, I love you guys. Peace out.
It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Yeah, he had a good point.